guys, so I'm going to teach you guys about how to draw the basic human figure. It's a really useful skill, and it's pretty easy when you break it down to the very basics. So, if everyone has a piece of paper and a pencil, you can draw as I show you. So start off with a head, and it should be, just a normal circle. And then the torso, which should be bigger than the head, because a lot of times people, they think they make the head too big, and it makes the drawing look unrealistic. And the shoulders should be relatively narrow, but broad at the same time. They shouldn't be like this much bigger than the head. So does everyone have the torso? Okay. So this is the pelvis area. So I'm going to show you how to make a girl, just because I find people are more interested in how to, like, the girls' bodies. So that's a girl. And so the waistline is going to be higher than it would be if you were drawing a boy. Oh, and for the shoulders, just 2 dots on the outside of the torso. And if you made the torso a little bit too broad, you can always just put the circles inside the torso, and it's all good. Okay. So then just where the legs are, do dots to show where the knees and the ankles are. And so you put dots for all your joints. So like in your arms, you put dots as well. And the arms should go back down to at least like mid-thigh. But you don't have your fingers drawn yet, so it should be a little bit lower. And the legs should be, when you go like this, it should be relatively equal. Like, do you see what I mean? Like, it's not, sometimes people make like the upper half of the body huge and little legs, or huge long legs and little torso, and you can do that if you want. You can use these basics to manipulate it however you want, but as long as you're trying to go for realistic, that's the better way to draw it. So it's really complicated to draw the body because the body is so complicated. So if there's many ways that people try to draw it, and so if you use multiple strategies, it sometimes lets you get a clearer view of what you're going for, because really what you're doing here is outlining the skeletal, like what's going on with your bones underneath the skin, and it's useful to have multiple ways of looking at how the bones really are. So that's the hip area, and your thighs start more on the outside of your hip area. It's a good way of looking at it, and then they taper inwards and do the same thing. So, does everyone have that worked out? Okay. So from here, this is the part where you start actually drawing it. This is just the outline. So what you want to start doing is connecting them, like actually making the skin. And there's a lot of different tricks that you can use to make it look more realistic. Like if her arm is like this way up, you can do that. If you make it like thicker where the elbow is on the back side, and you can draw the hands. We'll do fingers later, but that's where the fingers would be. And so that's one arm. And so then you can start trying to outline the hip area, and it's good for me. In a lot of like cartoonish drawings, they'll make the torso like this, and then the hip go out like that. I mean, that's just kind of like it's kind of like how they want the ideal woman to look, kind of, but it makes the hips look really big, so if you're going for that, then you would do that. And the legs are what a lot of people have trouble on because they're not just, you know, sticks, and they're not straight, and so you want to just outline it, but think about how your knee and like legs look, and if you make this line go a little bit longer and a little bit more in, then it looks more realistic. And for the shoulders, a good way to look about it is to go, this is the shoulder line, they go slightly in, like your collarbone, like right here, and you can draw the neck up, and the head down, and the neck is usually thicker than most people think. You want it to like, it would like attach from there. So this is just, so you can see like the basics of how to draw it, and if you're a man, you just change around the proportions a little bit, make the torso longer, have a lower natural waist. And from this basic structure, you can draw anything really. You can, just by tweaking it, you can draw cartoon characters, you can draw fat people, you can draw babies, or, you know, so I find it really useful, and I hope you guys do too.